section 4, right? It's not graphing linear functions. I forgot to change that. So today is all about writing equations. Most of what we've been working on, I've been giving you information and you've been finding the line, right? I've been giving you the equation and I'm saying, hey, find the line that goes with this equation, right? What we're going to be doing in this section is we're going backwards. I'm going to give you limited information and you're going to find the equation that goes with it. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be using, what was that? Thank you. So, what's M stand for up here? And B is your y-intercept, right? Okay, so if I gave you these two pieces of information, and I said, I want you to find the equation that goes with it, what do you do? So, if you have a slope and a y-intercept, can you find the equation that goes with it, yes or no? Okay, are there any questions on how I went from here to here using this stuff? Okay, so that's kind of a simplistic one, right? Slope-intercept is one of our primary forms. You've used it a lot. We should be good, correct? Okay, we're also going to be getting into, point-slope form. Does anybody remember seeing this last year? Because I can guarantee you saw it last year. Does anybody remember point-slope form? Does it sound kind of maybe familiar? Point-slope form. Let me write it out and see if anybody remembers seeing it. Okay. Bigger formula, right? Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if I call something slope-intercept form, what two pieces of information do I need in order to use that form? If I call something slope-intercept form, what two pieces of information do I need in order to use it? I need the m and the b, right? So what are those representing, though? Y-intercept and slope. Okay, so if I give you the slope of the line and the y-intercept is, you can use this form, right? Everybody all right? Okay, what do I need in order to use this form? I need a point and the what? Slope. We are not sneaky in mathematics, okay? We're not known for being superly creative in the way we name stuff, okay? Point slope form is called that because in order to do it, what do you need? Point slope. Okay, so the name of the function is exactly the information you're looking for. So if I said something like this, right? An equation of the line that passes through 5, 4 and has a slope of -3. Am I going to use slope-intercept form or point-slope form? Point-slope form. How come? What did I give you? I gave you a what? A point and a what? So I'm going to use point-slope form. Okay, I'm not trying to trick you. Everybody okay with that? Yes, no, maybe? All right. So if this is my point, how would I label this 5? What is the 5 labeled as? What does it represent? X sub 1. What's the 4? Y sub 1, right? Everybody okay with that? And what's the letter that we use for slope? M. So if you look at my equation, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, do I now have enough stuff to plug into that? Yeah. So I'm going to take y minus, what's my y1 value? 4. Equals, what's my m? Times x minus, what's my x1? Okay, now, what am I asking you to find? Right at what? Equation of the line. What's our most common format for equation of a line? Y equals mx plus b, right? So when I use point-slope form, my answer will be y equals mx plus b format, so you can actually graph it. Is everybody okay with that? Yes, no? Not yet. So in order to get the answer, though, I just want to get y by itself. Okay? So I'm going to distribute on the right, and I get y minus 4 equals negative 3x plus 15. Everybody good with that? Yes, no, maybe? Everybody good? So we're going to take the negative 3 times x, negative 3 times negative 15, right? So now how do I get y by itself? Add the 4. So y equals negative 3x plus 19. Now, is this format easy for you to graph? Go up to 19, go down 3 over 1, connect your dots, you're done. Right? And because we designed it, we can guarantee it'll pass through the 0.54, and it does most definitely have a slope of negative 3. So when they ask you to write the equation, you're going to want to get y by itself. Okay? But the biggest tool that we have for actually writing an equation for a given parameter is this formula right here. So we're going to be using this a lot today. So let me get out of the way, because I do make a better door than a window. So any major questions on generic point slope form? All right, so now we're going to actually get into using it. So they're going to ask you some where they give you this stuff and you just plug it in, right? But this is the section of the test where usually like half of you will just leave it blank. Like there's 6 of these types of questions, that's 12 points. So I have a lot of kids who just skip it because they don't pay attention during lecture. So make sure that you're with me as far as what's going on. Okay, so using point slope. Write an equation that passes through negative 2, 3, and is parallel to y equals negative 4x plus 1. So in order to use point slope form, what 2 pieces of information do I have to have? I have to have what? A point, and I need to have the slope. Okay, do I have a point up here? Yeah, they gave me a point, right? Did I flat out say the slope is? No, but do we usually not give you enough information? Usually we give you enough, but you have to do some work, right? So, what did I tell you about these 2 lines? They're what? Okay, what do we know about parallel lines? Their slopes are the same. So, that means that the slope of this line is going to be what? The same as the slope that I need, okay? So what is the slope of that line over there? Negative 4. So what's my slope got to be? Negative 4. Okay, now I am done with this equation. All I'm doing is using it for its slope. Okay, so now that I've used it and gotten its slope, throw it away. Everybody all right? Okay, now do I have enough information to use this format? Yes, I have a point and I have a slope, so all I do is plug it in. Y minus 3 equals negative 4 times x plus 2, because that's minus a negative, which goes plus. So distribute, or what? Okay, so now how do you get y by itself? Okay, so y equals negative 4x minus 5. And that equation will pass through negative 2, 3, and it has the exact same slope as my original line, which means that these lines will, in fact, be parallel. Everybody okay with this? So that whole parallel perpendicular stuff that some of you really missed on the quiz, we're still using it. It's still showing up. So make sure that you know what parallel lines look like, what they have in common, what perpendicular lines look like based off of slope comparisons. Yes, ma'am?
Okay, so if you have a negative x more,
yeah, because it's minus. These are both minuses, right? So if y1 is negative, what do you do with minus a negative? It becomes, so that would be a plus there, right? Here, minus an x1 that's negative, the double negative goes positive. Okay, so if you do catch it right away, you can do it, or you can substitute in first and then catch it. It's up to you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so this is x1, y1, right? And this is the m, so all we're doing is plugging it into there. So we've got y minus y1, so y minus 3, equals our m, which is negative 4, times x minus a negative 2, the double negative goes positive. Okay, and then you just distribute on the right, add or subtract from the left, and you're done. Again, what I like about this is, yeah, it's kind of big, it's a little gross, but it's always just 2 steps. Always. Okay? Unless you count substitution, then it's 3. But it always works the exact same way, and you'll always get your answer out in slope-intercept form. Yes? Y equals negative 4x minus 5, yes. Y equals negative 3x plus 19? It's for a different situation. Like, these two problems aren't connected. So this is just, if I tell you it passes through 5, 4, and has to have a slope of negative 3, this is the equation that will have both of those characteristics. Correct. This one, they didn't tell you the slope. They just said we're parallel to this thing. Okay? So we have to use the connection between what we know on parallel lines and their slopes in order to find the slope so we can actually find the equation. All right, everybody good with parallel? All right, so let's take a look at perpendicular. Again, I give you a point, right? What's missing? The what? What do we still have to find? The what? The slope. So what do we know about perpendicular lines? Their slopes are what? Oh, I did. That should not be a U. That should be an E. Huh. I was a little tired. And that's going to bug the heck out of me, so let me fix it real quick. Don't mind me. Da-da, da-da-da. Right, they're opposite reciprocals, right? Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, fuck. Alright, so since those slopes for perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals, what's the slope of the line they gave me again? Negative 4 over 1, right? If I'm trying to find the equation to a line that is perpendicular to that one, then that means that my slope has to be the opposite reciprocal to the slope of the line given. Is everybody okay with that connection, yes or no? Okay, so what's the opposite of negative here? And what's the reciprocal of 4? So my slope has to be positive 1 over 4. Yeah, because I know I'm flipping it, so I wrote it as a fraction. All right, so again, you have to know the connections, right? Parallel lines, slopes are the same. Perpendicular lines, slopes are opposite. Now, once I have my point and my slope, what do you think I use? What form do I have that involves a point and a slope? Point, slope, form, right? So what's that look like? Right, so minus a negative 2 becomes plus 2. Everybody okay with that, yeah? Or no? Kind of? Okay. Then let me do something here. So again, we're just using this formula, right? And I'm just straight up substituting my stuff. Y minus 3 equals 1/4 x minus a negative 2, right? Double negatives go positive. That's how I got there. Okay, so now what's my next step? Okay, I'm trying to get y by itself, but before I can do that, I have to distribute to get rid of parentheses, right? So what's 1/4 times x? Okay. X over 4. You are all aware that that means the same thing, right? Okay? But if I think that you're putting x in the denominator, you're going to lose points because then you're creating a rational expression instead of something we can actually solve. Okay? Everybody all right with that? Connection, yes, no? So please, just be careful. Okay? What's 1/4 times 2? 1/2. Okay, now how do I get x by itself? Add 3, so I'm going to get y equals x over 4 plus 7 over 2. Or, if you want to, y equals 0.25x plus 3.5. Right, and if you notice, the slopes are, in fact, opposite reciprocals. So that guarantees that my line is, in fact, going to be perpendicular. And because I built it with this x and y, I know that if I plug a negative 2 in here, right, negative 2 times over 4 is negative 1/2, right? 7 halves take away a half is 6 halves. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's the y value I should get. So I'm guaranteeing that this line will pass through this point and I can be sure that the slopes are perpendicular and are opposite reciprocal, so I know my line is in fact perpendicular. Okay? Everybody all right with this, you think? Yes, no, maybe? All right. So we've got one more style of problem to see. Actually, I lied, two. So what about this one? Write an equation of the line that passes through just 2 points. So I have point-slope form, and I have slope-intercept form, right? What piece is in common between both lines? Point-slope and slope-intercept. Slope, right? So if I'm trying to write the equation of a line, what do you think is kind of the first thing I need to try to find? Slope. So who remembers, how do you find slope if I give you 2 points? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, right? So plug in, what's my y2? y1, x2, x1. Okay, double negative goes positive, and you'll get 12 over negative 3, which is a negative 4. This is the formula for slope, yeah. So from here, there are actually two different ways of going. Once you have slope, you can actually find the equation of a line given a point and the slope, either using point-slope form or slope-intercept form. Do you care which way I use, or do you want me to show you both and you pick? Both? So I'll do, wow, I cannot spell. I'll do point-slope first, because to be honest with you, that's what this section's on, and in my mind, it's faster and easier. All right, so for point-slope, right, again, what's our point-slope form? Times x minus x1, right? Everybody okay? All right, so how many points do I have? I have 2. How many points am I allowed to use? 1. Does it matter which one I use? No, because I used them both, right? Both of those points are on my line, right? Because I used them to find slope. So it doesn't matter which one I use. So what you should do is develop your own style. For me, I always pick the first one. That's just because that's how I do it. If you'd rather do the second one or do each one differently, it's up to you. So if I'm using the first point, right, what's my x value? What's my x1? And what's my y1? Negative 2, right? So I'm using this point as my point, and this is my slope. So all I do is plug them in. So y minus y1, my y1 is negative 2, equals my m is negative 4, x minus my x1, which is 5. Everybody okay? Yeah? Okay, so now it's just like everything else we've been doing today. Distribute on the right, and then you're going to solve on the left. So double negative goes positive, so I get y plus 2, equals negative 4 times x is negative 4x, negative 4 times negative 5 is plus 20. Okay? Now I have no parentheses, which is what I want. And how do I get y by itself? Subtract 2, so what's y going to be equal to? Negative 4x plus 18. So any questions on point-slope form? And then slope-intercept, if you are one of those people that's like, dude, I want to learn just one equation, you can use slope-intercept for this too. Same basic idea here. Right? How many variables can I solve for at one time? 1. So, again, I picked a point, right? So this is a what? What's this? An x, and what's this? A y. Do I know my m? So I'm going to plug in for everything except b. All right? So you plug in, you get negative 2 equals negative 4 times 5 plus b, right? So you get negative 2 equals negative 20 plus b. How do you get b by itself? Add 20. So what's negative 2 plus 20? 18. So you get 18 equals b. Okay, am I just asking you to find the y-intercept? What do the directions say to do? Right, or what? An equation. Okay, well, if I have my y-intercept, do I have the slope? Yeah, so now I can put them back together and rewrite my equation. So my final equation here is y equals negative 4x plus 18. Oh, geez. Doesn't that look a little bit familiar? So does it matter which method you use? No. Doesn't matter which point you use? No, I could have used 210, and I would have gotten the exact same answers. Okay, because both points are on our line, because that's the beginning assumption, right? The equation of the line that passes through both of these points. It doesn't matter which one you use. You just need a point on the line, regardless of where it is. Everybody okay with that idea? Yes, no? Yes? No. For these, because I want the full equation, you need to keep going either to point slope or to slope-intercept, but you don't have to do both. Yes. Yep. And the reason is because I'm asking you for the actual equation, not just the slope. So this is only part of the equation. All right, everybody good with that? Yeah? Any questions so far? Okay, one last thing, and then you guys and gals will get your homework sent. Write an equation in standard form that satisfies the given conditions. So first of all, what does standard form look like? Who remembers what's standard form of a line? All right, so we've got ax plus by equals c. So that means for this section, that's what my answer needs to look like. Okay? So I'm not done until I get this. So what information did I give you there? M and a point. So if I give you a slope and a point, which form do you think you're going to use? Point slope form. So again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Plug in what we know. What is my y1? Negative 7. So what happens with a double negative? Becomes positive 7. My m is negative 3 halves. X minus x1. x1 is 4. Everybody okay so far? Yes or no? All right. Evaluate on the right-hand side. Negative 3x over 2. Negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 3 is 12. Divided by 2 is 6. Everybody okay to there? I know you guys hate fractions, but is everybody okay with how to multiply fractions? Okay? Everybody good? So now how do I get y by itself? Subtract the 7. So I get y equals negative 3x over 2 minus 1. Right? Now that's an equation, but is that the right form? No, it says write an equation in standard form. So what do I have to do to make this be standard form? Okay, get both x and y on the same side. So I already have y here, and it's already a positive, which is what I want, right? So how do I move this entire chunk of 3x over 2 from the right to the left? Add it because it's a what? Right, it's a negative, so I'm going to add it. So add 3x over 2 to both sides, and as a final answer, I get 3x over 2 plus y equals negative 1. And yes, I want your x in the lead. Okay, it needs to be ax plus by equals negative 1. So ax plus by, and then equals your c. Okay, so I do not want y plus 3x over 2. Okay, yes, sir. Yes, yep. So if your slope is positive, then yeah, you'll wind up subtracting it over. So you'll have a negative in the lead, which I know some people get upset about, but that's just how we'll deal with it for right now. Yeah, because you're still doing that, because what's just just an x means 1x, right? So the 1's still there. You just don't have to write it. Yes, yeah, if you're taking a fraction times just a number, even if that number is just a variable, it always goes in the numerator, because that number is actually a number over 1. All right, so any major questions on how to get standard form? Yes, no, maybe? So if you can't tell, the language, again, is going to be pretty important through here, right? We have we have point slope form, slope-intercept form, standard form, okay, slope formula. You need to make sure that you know what those things are. They're more than just words, okay? They're the tools that you're going to use in order to be successful on the quiz and test that we still have to take over this stuff. Okay? Everybody good with that? Yeah? All right, so here's your assignment.